I've lost count of how many E3s I've been to at this point. It's just all a blur. Oh yeah, I know.
This is my third.
I feel like the old guy. It's number 3 for you.
Yeah. Tamoor, didn't you poop your pants during one?
That was on I'm on my third now. On my first one, I almost pooped my pants. It was my third week working at GameSpot.
Were you trying to like make a
I was
statement?
like marking my territory. How many thousands of people are watching? Just take a quick dump on the table. No, it was like because Tyroot was running things then, and I'd never spoken to him before, and he was like, "You sit here, you do not move. If you move, you will screw this all up for us." And I was like, I really need to go to the toilet badly. And I was sandwiched between, I think I was next to Kevin at the time, and maybe Chris Waters was in the middle, and you were on the end.
I was on the edge.
And if you
furthest away from the splash zone.
If you go back and watch that stream, just look into my eyes and notice how much I'm readjusting the way I'm sitting. Like it was trying to compress everything and hold it in place long enough. Once that was done, I took the best dump of my whole life.
I thought you were just really excited for The Witcher 3.
No.
Speaking of, we could probably get into what we're going to see. CD Projekt Red has said they're definitely going to be there with an RPG, right? Which everybody is pretty much assuming it's Cyberpunk 2077. We still don't exactly know what kind of game it'll be. I mean, aside from an RPG.
Sci-fi,
they've said that.
Sure.
Yeah, sci-fi, probably a cyberpunk aesthetic, I would imagine. I mean, we don't know if it's going to be in the vein of The Witcher 3.
They found a lot of success with Witcher 3. They have to emulate that.
It's going to be hilarious when it turns out it's an expansion for Gwent, and everyone's like, "Oh no!"
That'll be really good. That's one of the bigger things that we're expecting to definitely see.
Yeah.
Obviously, Fallout 76, which was
Fallout 76
teased today.
Yeah, today as of this recording.
In Vault 76, our future begins.
There are sources saying it's going to be an online like survival game inspired by DayZ and Rust, which I find pretty cool, but I imagine there will be some backlash for people who just want that Bethesda Game Studios single-player RPG a la Fallout, Elder Scrolls.
Which could still be coming.
Yeah.
They're kind of teasing a lot of stuff before their press conference, so I feel like they're holding something back.
Yeah,
I hope so.
They have that one game which they're supposed to be making, Starfield? Something like that.
Yeah.
But like this Fallout game seems like a natural evolution of Shelter. It's like they did so well with Shelter, it makes sense for them to kind of scale up. And given the trend of open world kind of survival and almost like DayZ style stuff being everywhere right now, this is the game that feels almost best suited to do it. Like even if it's rubbish, just someone should do it just to say it's done, because we need that Fallout open world kind of like post-apocalyptic creation game. But yeah, I get the feeling that there will be some trepidation from people who are like, I want a proper Fallout game.
Or just something different in the Fallout style.
Well, while we're on Bethesda, they also announced Rage 2 with that trailer.
Yeah.
We know it's going to be an open world kind of game between collaboration between Avalanche Studios and id.
Yep.
That's about it right now. We also know it's a sequel to the 2009 game. I'm still surprised they're doing a sequel to that, but I guess that just like shows some...
I think they're just trying to play off the recognition of the brand. I don't expect they're actually...
Brand recognition with Rage?
No, I mean, it is a brand that is known, right?
It exists, okay.
Yeah. No, I think, no, seriously, like, it's just, that's the bare minimum, I think, for a publisher like that these days. Especially the idea that it's going to be different, that at least gives people some context to get excited for, because, you know, best case scenario, they hold on to what did work about Rage and just spin the rest into somewhere new.
I get the feeling like they're trying to eat Borderlands lunch slightly.
Yeah.
Just be like, because Borderlands is a game that people really love, but it's just the kind of build up to it, and the sequel has been so slow and weird and muddled. I get the feeling that they could really benefit off just coming in and being like, hey, we've got a crazy apocalyptic Mad Max style game, and obviously Avalanche did Mad Max, right? So it's like them coming up and being like, that game that you like because it's kind of Mad Maxy, we've actually got the people who made the game, and we've taken the same attitude and the style of it, and I think they could really slide in and eat kind of like take some mindshare away from Borderlands.
Depends on the timing,
Yeah, true.
because it's not a 2018 game, so.
No.
Yeah.
But then Randy Pitchford was tweeting like, we're not going to be at E3 now, which kind of seemed like they're slinking
Randy-
away.
Or did he just say Borderlands 3?
I think he said Borderlands 3. I think there'll be some...
So maybe there's Borderlands something else.
It will be called Borderlands the Third, and it'll be like, I mean, I was true. I did a magic trick. Did you see it? I'm great for magic.
While we're on Bethesda, they've been teasing some Prey DLC news. I forgot who reviewed it for GameSpot. They were totally wrong. It was one of the best games last year.
It's me.
Oh, it was you!
100% always right. This guy.
But yeah, Prey. They're gonna have that Moon DLC. Everybody's pretty much like a poorly kept secret. They've been tweeting for like maybe 6 months now.
They shouldn't tweet about it if they want to keep it a secret.
Right. Poorly kept secret, I said. But I'm
Kept it all.
I'm personally excited to see what that is. I really liked Prey. I know there's a few of us in the office that liked it. I don't know. Are you
You gonna
excited
take
at all
that?
to see
We
what they're
call
gonna
them
do?
wrong'uns where we are.
I'm really excited to see what they do with Prey.
I'm interested to see, how they add on to it, especially given how long it's been since Prey released. Like, is anyone really still thinking about that game?
Or how surprising it is that they're even doing a DLC for that game, which made almost nothing in the base from Arcane at least.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's going to be like a Death of the Outsider kind of standalone expansion.
Right.
I imagine it would be.
I mean, that was what I wanted them to do when I first played Prey, but then I was like, I don't know if they made enough money to do that. But then Bethesda's been supporting Arcane pretty well throughout the years.
And they usually put out good DLC, so I'm excited to see. I'm interested in going back to it because I'd love to see whether they follow the same style of the game or if they kind of switch it up in terms of tone.
Taking any feedback into account too,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
The
Yeah.
feedback. If they could get rid of those damn mimics, or at least make them interesting in some meaningful way, I'm up for it. But yeah, we'll see.
My dream would be to see Doom 2.
'Cause,
I
like,
don't know what the
who's the guy who
legacy
did the
is.
music? Because when
Gordon?
Mick Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
because like when Pete Hines was like, "Oh, we're gonna have our press conference here," like Mick Gordon was like, "Oh, really looking forward to it, winky face or something." I was
There's
like,
also Quake, right? They're making
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Quick Champions. Isn't
Yeah.
that out?
Champions.
Is that-
No, it's not
No,
out.
they announced the new Quake last year, didn't they?
Yeah. Quick Champions.
Completely forgot about it until
Yep.
right this moment. So maybe
Glad
we'll
you brought
see
it up,
that.
I would've moved on.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was like a beta for that.
Oh, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking of.
Oh, okay. All right.
I
Then.
should know these things.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on from Bethesda, we got EA will have Anthem. Just this morning as well, they tweeted out it looked like kind of a Matrix-looking code falling into place saying decoding twice. You didn't see that?
I saw it, but I don't understand.
Oh,
it. Like,
yeah. I don't know what that's going to be about. It's just pretty much them teasing that they're going to be at E3, which we
I'm
expected.
really interested in Anthem because, like, Blizzard.
Blizzard.
I've been thinking about Blizzard so much recently. I can't even say any other B words. Bioware has really taken a hit lately. The star has fallen for them. This is kind of, to me, a big make or break moment for them. Like, they need to put out a solid, good game that hooks people. Otherwise, the prestige is starting to kind of like fall off around Bioware.
Hey, Paul. You ready to go?
We're just grabbing some supplies, just about ready.
What are you gonna use today?
I decided to go with the Colossus.
I'm gonna use my Ranger. Try out some new upgrades.
Yeah, I'm curious to see like how all the reaction to Star Wars. I mean, obviously they're not related, but the economics of a game coming out of EA, especially a big one like Anthem, I'm curious to see how that's maybe shifted. I guess we'll probably never know what might have changed, but
And like I'm hoping they're looking at Destiny. I mean, they've had 2 Destinies to look at. If that is the type of game that they're going for, they've had 2 Destinies to look at and see like what are the issues here, what do people like, and kind of use that as a jumping off point for their experience. So I'm hoping that they're doing that and we get something a little more, long term out of it. I really want to kind of sink myself into a new Bioware world.
Yeah.
I played Andromeda and it crushed my soul.
but that's the thing though. I don't want to lose like everything that usually makes a Bioware game special, which is its single player. And so I hope we kind of get more details about how that aspect of it. Because what was that game they announced where it was like there would be a single player campaign, but it was like the asymmetrical multiplayer. It's like Shadow Realms or something. Like
sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, and it
sounds
was
vaguely
like,
familiar.
and they were gonna try and balance multiplayer and a single player.
I'm with you though. If they could take what people like about Destiny and those kind of games and then implement it into the Bioware formula, which lately hasn't really held much clout.
I mean, like, Bioware's strength is storytelling and like single player campaigns. Destiny's, for me, one of its biggest weaknesses. That stuff is completely throwaway for me. Like, I do not care about anything that happens in Destiny beyond shooting stuff and getting new loot. So if they could come in and be like, hey, we've created a good story and a proper world for you to actually sink your teeth into, more meaningful than having the Traveler just floating there for no apparent reason for years and years, that could be a big deal for someone like me. And I really hope, I love Bioware and I want to see them succeed. As I love most game companies, I want to see them succeed. More than anyone, I want to see Bioware kind of hit their stride again, because when Bioware puts out a good game, it's like it's a special thing.
The thing that struck me when they showed it off last year was the mobility throughout the world.
Yeah.
That's my big question mark, because that's the sort of thing that can really hook me in a game, right? Like that excellent feeling of movement and how the world can facilitate that and allow you to go through it, right? And experience all it has to offer in different ways. If that's clunky, I would probably have to not even, I'd probably write it off, even if the story was good.
And it's like they don't have a great history with mobility in that style. Like you think of the jetpack in Andromeda, or the Mako's jetpacks.
But this looks so much more
Yeah,
involved.
this
This looked
feels
like
like-
a way
yeah.
different scale.
It feels closer to like
They must have like brought in new people to do it.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Because the upgrades will all be based on your exosuit, right? And they said there's 4 classes. I forget what they're actually called, but obviously Destiny has the 3. So it does seem like it is their Destiny killer, if you want to call it that, to be reductive. But EA will also be showing Battlefield 5, more of it at EA Play the weekend at the beginning of E3. We saw that trailer they showed during DICE conference, which didn't really say much. The trailer looked like an action movie. People got annoyed because they didn't think it was historically accurate, which Battlefield multiplayer has never been.
It's because they're idiots, Michael.
Yeah, I know.
The thing that struck me about it was a little more playful than I expected it to be. Like there was a bit where a guy was like injured and a medic was running by and he was like, I need a med kit, and the guy just replied like, sorry mate, no time. It was like weirdly Fortnite-ish in terms of the way it was toned, and like I was like, oh, this is an interesting thing to lead with for Battlefield, because usually they're like very straight, serious shooter, like doing crazy things, but being like tonally very like, this is a war, we're gonna do war stuff. But here it's like a little more playful, which is weird for me, and I kind of like it. I like that they're leaning into it, because that's ultimately what you want to do, right? That gif of a guy on a horse with a flamethrower is what I want to do in Battlefield. So
Not historically accurate.
I do not care.
It seems like they're being more honest about how people play those multiplayer games.
Good.
It keeps reminding me of like Trevor from GTA 5. He's like a character that makes sense. Square Enix is having their own press conference this year for the first time in a few years. We got Kingdom Hearts 3, which is probably, Lucy, I know you want to talk about Kingdom Hearts 3.
I played it, man. A couple weeks ago, we went to that event in Santa Monica.
Yep.
Got to play it for like an hour. Like, if you are familiar with Kingdom Hearts, then you'll be fine. But I am interested in seeing how people who haven't grown up with Kingdom Hearts are going to take to it, because it feels very PS2. Looks incredible, but also, and the way they've done the characters is great, like very, very authentic, like the way they did the Toy Story characters. But at the same time, they added in like just the most incredible anime nods. Like, they will have a conversation, and then Rex will go, or something, or like, like the yeah, I don't know, and the writing is very much, that we talk, like someone's gone missing, and then, Sora will go, but he's my friend! We have to go find him! It's very
Japanese.
こんにちは。俺は空だよ。君は人間を見ても平気なんだね。マイクはザスケ。違うよ、ブー。俺がマイクだよ。マイクはザスケ。
But it is like what Lucy said is 100% true. It feels like a Kingdom Hearts game. The camera's slightly wonky and requires a little more micromanaging than you'd like. The combat is kind of like very floaty, and the style, like the chain style stuff, which if you know Kingdom Hearts, it makes perfect sense and it feels familiar. But I'm interested. I think they're gonna really lean into kind of selling the kind of attachment to characters more so than ever, and I think it makes me think that they're gonna have a lot of recent popular characters, like really focus on like the Frozen characters or the Tangled characters or whatever it may be. Yeah, Big Hero 6, and use that to kind of bring more people in.
But that's good, because Kingdom Hearts, like the numbered 1 and 2, and then you had all those spin-offs, and they have used the same worlds to death. If I have to go to Agrabah one more time, I swear to God.
To be fair, I don't care about Kingdom Hearts at all. Seriously, it's about damn time that they show something about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
If they don't, they run the serious risk of people just laughing at them like more than they already are. They've changed teams once. They kicked CyberConnect 2 out. They have thrown around like pretty broad statements about what the game's going to be and what it's going to entail. We have to see something, and I really hope it's not just another CGI, out of engine sort of thing.
I hope it's not, but I get the feeling it will be. Like, there's something about it that kind of stuff, the changing teams and that kind of business, I feel like if it required a kind of gameplay revamp of sorts, they're gonna lean on something easy sellable.
Yeah, but like the thing that would really, I think, get fans really stoked, I don't know how much you guys care about Final Fantasy VII, right? But like showing how the materia system works, how mixing and matching materia can then be turned into gameplay, even if it's just basic examples like that. I don't need like a 20-minute, consecutive like gameplay recording. Like, get into the nitty-gritty, actually speak to the fans and show something other than Cloud's face in Midgar.
And then the thing is like, do you think they would go as hard on Final Fantasy VII if they're gonna go hard?
No, I know,
on
right?
Kingdom
There is
Hearts?
that sort of.
I think it's only like an hour as well, so it's like
it's a tough
pick and
balance.
choose.
But they have other press conferences as well. There's obviously
Yeah.
Sony's; they can lean into that. But yeah, obviously Final Fantasy VII could appear at any of the publisher or platform holders' press conferences.
Because like 15 was on Microsoft a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah. And Microsoft needs to cater to Japanese fans, I think, if they want to stay competitive. Or they can just continue down the path they're doing right now, which is sort of, taking the rug out from Sony by giving people services that work really well. Maybe Microsoft can do something else along that route. I don't want to see another Halo 6. I don't know about you guys. I don't care about Microsoft sequels like that because, oh my god, how many more games do we need with Master Chief specifically?
You
How
will
many
see
more?
6.
We
Going
will?
to.
That's happening?
6, and like they have to. That like I'd say guaranteed. Halo 6. I would not be totally surprised to see Gears of War 5 announced. 4 was how many years ago? 2. I think that like I'm not disagreeing with you.
No, I know.
But
And I
you're
know
gonna
get like
see
a
that.
lot of hate from people
Yeah.
for saying I don't give a shit. But like seriously, like do something surprising.
Yeah, I'm curious
Seriously.
because like Scalebound got canceled a couple years
Yeah.
ago. That was a new IP. They're gonna show Ori and the Blind Forest 2, which I'm really excited for, but that's not huge.
No.
And I want Microsoft to show something like crazy. I want them to surprise people because, it
That's
does
what that's what everyone else does.
Yeah, I want them. They're gonna show Halo 6. They're gonna show. They might show Gears of War 5 or something. They're gonna show Ori and the Blind Forest 2. I want them to surprise us, but I don't know what they would show right
They
now.
have was it Playground doing an open world RPG of sorts? Because Playground, the Forza Horizon guys were hiring for a not Forza game, I think it's an RPG of sorts. So that could show. I feel like it's still too early for that to pop up, but that could be one of the things that they very briefly tease. But I agree with Peter. Like, I will play some Halo if you put some Halo in front of me. But if they show it on the stage, I will not be excited.
They'll show Crackdown 3 as well.
But then like there was the
for how
rumors
many
going
years
around
now?
today.
Yeah,
like
there's
the
rumors.
Amazon are cancelling Crackdown pre-orders for this year.
Which means
Another
But
delay.
then it could be something to do with like
Yeah.
Amazon and Sony when
Yeah.
like people's stuff was getting cancelled, and that's a weird
yeah,
thing.
I can't. Gears of War is fine, but I cannot deal with another Gears of War being the centerpiece. Like Microsoft really need to show they have games. They built a lot of momentum by
They
being.
can show they have new ideas.
Yeah. They built some momentum by being like, here's the Xbox One X, which is the best way to play, 4K games or whatever. But like, they've had little to nothing to kind of like really entice me into buying one of those. I'm fine with my current Xbox One X. I need some new games, need some new IPs, need some new ideas. And if they don't have that, I think they're gonna have a really rough E3. Like,
Sea of Thieves was a really great attempt.
Yeah.
Do something as unexpected as that.
yeah, I agree.
I think that's maybe not my number one dream for this E3, but like I've been pretty critical of Microsoft over the years, like a lot of people, but I think I'm always rooting for them, and I want them. I think my number one wish at this E3 is that, like you said, Microsoft does something super surprising, and I'm happy coming out of E3 about Microsoft. All right, what about Sony? They've got a few things we could talk about.
Yeah, I've already said Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, Spider-Man, and Last of Us 2. Probably Days Gone as well.
Yeah, Days Gone. So that's spring 2019, I believe. Game Informer has had a ton of footage. I have never seen a game like show that much footage this early.
First hour already, right?
Oh, it's more than that too.
Oh, wow.
They like gave them each the controller for a while. I'm weirdly excited for that game. I know like a lot of people are tired of zombies, but I think if they can do new things with that game, the open world survival, which has been done, but if they can introduce enough new ideas, I'll be on board for that game next year.
Yeah, I'm all about Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
I know Peter, you're the same. Like, I've been begging and pleading for a new Tenchu game, and although this isn't that, it's just close enough. And a stealth game. That studio makes incredibly interesting open worlds, and they do traversal really well, which is one thing that we talked about before.
Right.
Like between Infamous and Sly and that kind of stuff, they do traversal so well. And the idea of like, a samurai becoming a ninja story. The stuff they could introduce with that, with free running, or even like, I love Intenchu just grappling up onto a roof, running around, and that was like my favorite thing to do. So that game is like, all my attention is on that game. I want to see what it's got. I love stealth games.
What are the odds that we're going to see gameplay of Death Stranding? I say no.
No.
I say no. Yeah.
I agree. Just play devil's advocate. What could they show? Anything? that would paint an idea of what this game is outside
first
of
5 minutes.
Yeah, outside of Kojima's, you know, like
I
this
think
guy's smart, but it's always like it seems like delusions of grandeur at first until we see more of whatever he's doing.
every time I try to think about what that gameplay could be, I always just my frame of reference is old Metal Gear stuff.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can find in there is that Metal Gear Solid 3 minigame Snake's Nightmare, which is the weird like action game that you wake up into and kill zombies and that kind of stuff. So that's currently my kind of template for what it could be, but I think that's a bit too I think that's a bit too simple. Like
There's still the whole like rope and stick thing that he's been going on about for years. And,
I think we will see gameplay of Last of Us though.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the perfect time. Get everyone excited. Probably show closer, maybe.
What is it? Is that this year still? Or was
No,
that this
I
year?
reckon it'll be next year.
next
Like I don't
year,
think they've properly said a thing.
Yeah.
They
But
set the tone with the last two trailers, especially the last one. Like they were just
I was
that last one
thinking
was just
one.
they were going all in on the brutal aspects of it.
Yeah.
But we know like
it'll be
Joel and Ellie will
interesting
come back.
to see if they do a similar thing now with that, because there was quite a lot of backlash to that trailer. So I wonder how they approach showing a new trailer, because if that is the overall tone of the game, like it's really raw and rough, and then they'd have to almost double down on it. So it could kind of define the discussion around their press conference if they really do double down on it.
But then how are they going to balance that with like the levity of Spider-Man?
Like a hard cut after
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Like Spider-Man,
A
hey!
long break where it's like disclosure, and then not the band, just a disclosure thing. It's been like, this is about to get bad, so careful.
So Spider-Man will play later this year, right?
Yeah.
Is it November?
Spider-Man's out soon. So
Speaking of Game Informer showing stuff, they showed a
Yeah.
lot more of that game. I'm excited for that game.
I saw mine. Like,
Yeah, I like
Spider-Man-
Insomniac stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Worried about the combat, but traversal looks good.
Yeah, traversals. There's like they do traversal again very well, and there's one of the things that I really hope they've done is like the Amazing Spider-Man games. Like there was 2 of them. They're not
The
great
Activision
games. The Activision. They're not great games, but they did swinging really well in a way. It did like the behind-the-shoulder camera, and like when you swung, you'd come really close to the ground, and it'd like come up behind you and follow you around. I think that's got some of the best like momentum based swinging and the cinematics of it. So I hope they're taking a cue from that, and also they're like building their own combat system. I don't know how I feel, but it looks like it's more environment based, where you're grabbing stuff and throwing it around. Yeah,
Hopefully that works.
and it's written in part by Dan Slott, who wrote Superior Spider-Man, and that is an excellent series. So I'm kind of hopeful for the actual story as well. And Superior Spider-Man was Dr. Octopus becoming Spider-Man, because he switched bodies with Peter Parker. So he gets weird as well.
Okay.
So it could be interesting from a story perspective.
All right, moving on to the last of the big 3. We got Nintendo.
Yeah.
What's
care
Smash
about-
Bros?
Smash.
Don't
Smash.
care. It's Metroid Prime 4.
Wow.
Yeah, Metroid Prime. We'll get back
We
to
know
Smash.
what Smash
but-
is.
yeah,
We know
yeah,
what
yeah,
Smash
yeah.
is so much. Metroid Prime 4 is the big question.
Yeah.
Who the hell is making it? Will it actually star Samus? Because there's a huge number of rumors pointing to this new character, Sylux, being heavily involved. And what better way to switch things up than to have that be the main character? He is a bounty hunter.
Right.
He is Samus's adversary.
Right.
Maybe they could work in tandem, or maybe they'll be against each other. I would love to see something crazy like that.
One of my favorite Metroid games, and I know it's not a popular one, is Metroid Fusion.
Yeah.
And like the evil Samus.
Right.
I'd love if they did that, like proper lean into the survival horror angle and have like an evil Samus again, like Parasite X Samus rolling around in a Metroid Prime style.
Or maybe have Samus in Sylux's backyard and have Sylux just screw with you
Yeah,
the entire
exactly.
time.
Yeah.
Just be a menace.
That like treat another character like the Nemesis from
Right.
Resident Evil
Right.
or Parasite Samus, and that is one of my favorite games, and I'd love for them to switch it up. I would love a different character as well, yeah, because I love when series kind of present a different take on a character you love. And Metal Gear Solid 2 with Raiden, everyone hates Raiden, but the great thing about Raiden is you get to experience what it's like to be next to Snake.
Yeah.
And there's few characters as like competent and like revered as Samus, so to be able to see her like operate from another person's perspective would be really interesting, especially in a game like Prime. Yeah, so I
And
don't
yes,
think
Smash. They'll do
I
Smash.
don't
Yeah, I
think
mean,
we will.
Smash.
I don't think we'll see much Prime though.
Oh, you don't?
No, I
I
think this
know.
will be a Smash.
I think this will be the Smash year, and maybe some like Mario stuff. But I as much as I hate it, the idea of it, I don't think we're gonna see much Prime.
So just last night, as of this recording, we saw all the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee news, as well as what Pokemon Quest, the mobile.
That's out today. It's on Switch.
Yeah.
It's nothing special.
So that's not the big Switch title they've been working on. Do you think they'll show anything off with that at E3, especially coming off these announcements last night so soon after?
I think they might leave these ones to breathe, and then they'll do a cursory like, oh, but you know, we're still working on this one.
Yeah, I think the way that the Pokemon Go, the 2 new Go games look is that they actually look what I was imagining a Switch Pokemon game would look like. Yeah. So I don't imagine they could go too far away from that and really wow us.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, let these breathe and sort of use this as the foundation and take the learnings from it to then.
Seems like they've said they're also trying to introduce the huge Pokemon Go audience into more mainstream, or maybe not mainstream, into more mainline Pokemon games, especially with the actual capturing of Pokemon in the game is more Go influenced.
And just sell Switches so those people buy other games too.
Yeah. That too.
Nintendo's tricky though, because remember last year they revealed the new Metroid game when no one was looking.
Oh, and it came out 2 months after.
So we
it was fantastic.
They could do similar things with that. Like I imagine it's going to be the Smash show mostly, but people should be keeping an eye on the Treehouse stuff afterwards.
They always do something. The past few years, they've always done something.
Bring back WarioWare.
They've already talked about WarioWare.
Really?
On 3DS.
Oh no, I mean the Switch one.
Do you think we'll see anything else from the 3DS aside from that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nintendo is not quitting on that. No.
Yeah. I'm glad. I love 3DS. But as far as Smash goes, are you of the mind that it'll just be the Wii U version with new characters put on the Switch, or like full-on Super Smash Bros. Skirmish, brouhaha?
They'll build on top of the Switch, the Wii U foundation. There'd be no reason to scrap it. I don't think anyone thinks that it's like worth starting over.
No.
Oh yeah, I think the Wii U version, aside from Melee, is like one of the more revered ones.
Yeah, and even then they could tweak it a little bit. They wouldn't have to just start from scratch.
Yeah, new characters, like a fresh coat of paint, and you can. I mean, they've been making the same game for years. Like so, I'm sure if they gave us the exact same game on Switch, most people would be happy, but they'll go a little bit extra.
You're gonna get a lot of shit for saying that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will get a lot of shit for saying that.
Last press conference that we didn't talk about, third party, Ubisoft. Division 2 is probably their big thing, which I'm actually excited for. I returned to the Division recently, and after all those updates, I mean, it was a good game to begin with. It just wasn't what a lot of people expected. I think a lot of people expected this post-apocalyptic co-op, open-world, story-driven kind of thing. I'm actually pretty excited for the Division 2 to see what they do, specifically with the Dark Zone, because that was a cool idea. That was like their shared multiplayer. You can kind of turn on people. It was almost like a more in-depth battle royale. Almost, you can turn on people, you can help them out. Usually, it was a little bit broken when it first came out, and now they've refined it. But I'm curious to see what they do with the Division 2 to kind of build upon the foundation. It reminds me of Destiny because it was a lot of the ideas there were new. It didn't just seem like they were shaped to the way they needed to be. I'm curious if they'll go the Destiny 2 route and kind of backtrack a little bit and annoy some people, or if they'll just keep building on the solid foundation they've built, especially after all those expansions.
It's gonna be interesting. There's like between that and Anthem, there's a lot of similar experiences coming together. What Ubisoft have? I mean, they're known for committing to games long term, so I expect we'll spend some time on the existing games like For Honor, Siege definitely. Like there should be some more Siege stuff.
They're also gonna have
third year, whatever.
Right? They're also gonna have one last push for Crew 2 because that comes out a couple weeks after.
Wildlands is still out there. I don't know if they're how committed to that they are.
They're gonna do more wacky DLC like the Predator stuff.
Maybe, yeah. But like apparently that like Division, that game has changed significantly and it's really good now. It's one of those games that I've been meaning to go back to. But that could get like if they want to show off that game and show like, oh, this is better now and it's really cool, now would be the time to do it. Like get some new
Far Cry
DLC.
5 as well, maybe.
Oh, they have another DLC
They
coming.
have the
with
Vietnam one that they showed,
Okay.
which looks huge. It's like an actual world, but then they have Mars and zombies.
Yeah.
I don't know what the order is. I think I'd mix those two up. I really want to see Splinter Cell, along with I know like Jake is a diehard Splinter Cell fan. It seems about time, and it's also they put Sam Fisher in Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yeah.
Of all games, I would love to see them do a new mainline Splinter Cell. The last one was Blacklist, which I really liked. It's not my favorite, but it was really good. I would like to see them do something new with that. It's been a while.
There'll be that VR game, the Elijah Wood horror game.
Oh, I thought you were saying Elijah Wood would be in the new Splinter Cell.
No, he's in like
That would be amazing. I would play that. Oh my god, he's Sam Fisher's son, and Sam has to kind of like train him to be an operative.
Move on from this nightmare.
We have lost the direction.
What about their like any Watch Dogs, any Assassin's Creed this year? Assassin's Creed Origins was the last 2 years ago?
Probably AC.
No,
They do some.
Origins was last year.
It was last year.
But I
Because they
think
took the year off.
they'll get-
I'm curious to see if they can build on the momentum of Origins or if they'll fall back into that lackadaisical annual release malaise.
Yeah,
What a mouthful.
Woo!
That's big words there.
They've talked about, like, there was a lot of discussion about Assassin's Creed moving towards a Witcher direction, and I think, like, I hope they continue to move towards that way. I think Origins was a good start for it. I think, like, some stronger quests and stronger dialogue and, like, kind of cleaning up the way kind of it's presented and kind of like the rough, smoothing out the rough edges. If they keep going towards that, I think they'll be in a good place, and hopefully, like, this year's, if they have one, it will be another step towards that. So I'm excited to see where they go, because it's going to be a good indication of what Assassin's Creed's future will look like.
So if there's going to be Assassin's Creed, you probably wouldn't expect anything from Watch Dogs for a while then.
No, I
if
think
they did a Watch Dogs.
Yeah, I think Watch Dogs is on a. Watch Dogs 2 did well, right? And so, like, I think they'll take the time to kind of like build on that and do something different. They want to move another city again, and introduce new characters and stuff. So who knows?
Beyond Good and Evil.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't, like, their announcement did nothing for me. In fact, it actually turned me off the game.
It made me feel cold when I watched it. I was like, you have. Oh man. It just seemed like everything that everyone loved about Beyond Good and Evil, they just ripped out. Watching the streams that they're doing as well, it's just like they're speaking and they're saying stuff and they're showing like 20-second long clips. And I can't get a feel for what it is.
No.
And that original trailer when they were like, the monkeys were swearing and all these like, oh, you can go from the ground to the ship and you can have dogfights and whatever. I was like, what happened to just taking pictures of animals and hitting people with a stick?
Bring my page. So when did they first announce that? That was like was that last year?
It's last year, I believe.
Yeah, I went to see it, and that game did not exist. Like, I was looking at it, that was not a game. It was an idea that someone had very quickly cobbled together in an engine, and they showed me pictures, like, this is artwork for it, and there was no clear vision of what it would be. You know, Ansel was there talking, and it was like what Lucy was saying. He was speaking. What he was saying was not making sense at all, and I don't feel like they've moved forward in any meaningful way. I feel like they're kind of like they're trying to cash in on trends almost, like this open world stuff and freedom and that kind of business, but I don't know why they've decided to attach Beyond Good and Evil 2 to it. Like, it's
I mean, the reason is Vivendi.
I mean, that is the reason, yeah. But, like, it seems like a really weird thing to do. Like,
we won't hear anything about it.
Yeah, maybe we won't. I feel like if they did, it will be another short thing, like a trailer, and they'll talk a lot about it. But we will still leave that presentation not knowing what Beyond Good and Evil 2 is, and worst case, not wanting Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Bon appetito!
Alright, as far as what I'm most excited for, I don't know if it's going to be there. I would love to see a new mainline Splinter Cell. I think that's my dream announcement this E3. Yeah. Tamoor, what are you most excited for, or what do you hope to see?
Ghost of Tsushima. Like, Splinter Cell again, but another stealth game. And that studio is incredible, so I'm excited for Ghost of Tsushima.
Lucy, what about you?
I want to see more of Last of Us, and I want a release date for Kingdom Hearts. It's been 12 years.
Please.
It's been 12 years.
And you recently played it, so you're even more
Yeah,
excited.
I actually cried when I heard the music. Which, to be honest, I did not expect to hit me.
Yeah, I warned you. Yeah. It was a moment. Like, you put the headphones on, I was like, okay, I still care. They played Dearly Beloved at the title screen, and I remembered that how much I cared about it when it started playing, and I was like,
yeah. It's because I played 2, a very formative part of my life, and I just feel like I'm so intrinsically tied to at least that song and that game. Yeah, and also it's because it's taking the piss now.
I'm the same with Metal Gear 2, so whenever I see Raiden slip on bird shit, I'm like.
Peter Brown, what about you this year?
For me, I'm just a Nintendo dork. I really want to see exactly everything they're going to show. If I had to sort of assume that some unannounced thing, would materialize, I would hope it is a Zelda on 3DS that incorporates some of the elemental mixing from Breath of the Wild in an interesting way. I think that could be a thing. If they want to keep people interested in 3DS, Zelda's probably the way to do it.
Link Between Worlds, like, going back on 3DS is one of my favorite Zeldas.
I mean,
well, hopefully this one saves her. Anyway, after that, cool. Well, E3's in what? As of this recording, E3's in like
10 days.
10 days.
Nice. Big clock over there.
Oh shit,
my body is ready.
Yeah, buddy is ready.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping we see more Just Dance.
Don't shit yourself.
I will do my best not to poop myself.
And don't poop yourself.
Yeah.
at least when I'm on
Make
set.
no promises.